I'm alive. I'm alive. Yeah. Okay. So my name's Jimmy O, and I'm going to be react. I'm a stand-up comedian myself, or a bit of one. Anyway, I'm going to be reacting to some comedians from the 70s who were quite influential on me. I've just dragged some clips off the internet. So yeah, I'm going to have a look at these now. I don't have much of a sense of humour, but if I don't laugh out loud at the jokes, you'll tell I'm enjoying them internally. Now we're going to look at Norman Collier. His act was basically pretended to have a microphone that was faulty. Similar to the Webster report, if any of you know what that is. Probably not a lot of you do, but yes, here we go. This is Norman Collier. Is it?
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much. Ladies and love it. You all, it's very wonderful to be on this. Oh, I must. It's been up to. Kind of this on it, please. Go full stop it. As I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, Mike, can you get this please?
It's proper old school. This is proper comedy. It's crafted in the clubs, and it's fucking funny, you know.
Something else to say this thing, please. Thank you. Yeah. I better cut it down, but this is ridiculous. As I was saying, listen,
I don't know. I've not watched these clips all the way through. He used to do a thing with he'd take a car door on stage and pretend to wind the window up. Yeah, I love all this kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff I kind of grew up watching.
Have you been on the aeroplane when you're coming back from your holidays and you get the captain speaking to you, and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, captain speaking here. We are flying at an 8th of 18 feet. We've arrived in Heathrow at approximately time. We do hope you went a flight with Waze, and I hope you okay."
It's basically his act's basically one joke, but you know he does it well. Good evening, Matt, and everybody else. I won't be commenting much in the comment section today.
So you get to the airport, you ring the wife up. So you go to a phone box with no door on, and you try another one with a door on and no phone in. You pick up the phone.
This is how old it is when you had dial-up phones. Dial a phone with a dial on. It's another world now, isn't it?
Hello, love. Just yes, I got take it off. So you get in the car, and you're on the motorway, and you want some petrol, right? Now this is 3 o'clock in the morning. It's just you and that pump, and nobody else. And you go up to the pump, and it's self-service, right? You pick up the lever, and it says, "Tights, pot, smug, stamp, stirve. Select lever, select lever." So you get in the car. How about those talking cars, eh? How about those then, eh? They'll talk back to you. Can you imagine necking in the back seat with your girlfriend, eh? And the voice coming back, "Pack it in, pack it in, pack it in." And can you imagine these things in your bedroom? You know, a talking mattress?
I think this material is a bit weaker than the like his thing is the microphone, faulty microphone gag.
You have got a headache, you have got a headache, you have got a headache. Don't forget to drink your cocoa, don't forget to drink your cocoa. Do you watch the telly, the sport, those sports commentators? Especially the snooker, eh? And he's just going to think about going up the bit. You know, it's very difficult for Steve Davis going on the far side. Can you turn it up, love? I can't hear it. And now on comes American tickets once again. And you back a horse. Was there some applause there? Oh, no. And you back a horse. You can't hear what you've backed.
It's good. This is very, very, very well observed and delivered.
He's to make low hair. He's like a Dalek, isn't he? Hey, it's coming on the far side. It's too low, it's 10 on time, I go. It takes 7, 8, it takes 2,
Mr. Norman Collier. I think we're going to be a bit Bernard Manning heavy in this one, to be fair. But this is part one. They did this series called Heroes, a comedy, and he was on it. And I just thought there was some good stuff to comment on. So let's have a look and see what we make of this.
Come in, sir, come in. We don't stand on ceremony here.
It's me. I fucked up.
See with you? Dropped the right bollock there, haven't you? Here you are. Down the full table here. Come on, you're all right. It's only our bit of fun. She's better than the old bag you brought in last Thursday night.
Couldn't believe that you'd include Bernard in a program called Heroes. Because for me, he's...
Now, you've got somebody here, Esther Ranson, who was best friends with Jimmy Savile, and she's having a go at Bernard Manning, who told jokes, and she was friends with the nonce, and she probably knew what he was going up to. So look at this self-righteous fucking prick.
He's the villain of comedy.
Colored couple talking. She says, why don't you go and see the doctor about our sex life? She says, you ain't half as good as you used to be. He says, I'll go and see the doctor. I'll go and see him. Go back a couple of hours later, Stetson hat, rolled umbrella, pinstripe trousers, fancy waistcoat, gold guard, spats. She, what do you dress like that for, man? He says, I's been to see the doctor. And the doctor says I's impotent. And in future, I's gonna look impotent.
He's got this reputation for...
Now, Stuart Hall, he used to be on television, like Luke Northwest or something like that. Was it Grenada Reports? One of them. Anyway, he was a swinger. He used to have swinging parties, this fella, at his house in Cheshire. Fair play to him, really.
being highly vulgar and highly risque, but it's in the great tradition of music hall. People are too sensitive nowadays, too politically correct. They don't appreciate Bernard. He is the funniest man in the business.
That politician, when they found him with a bag over his head and a fucking orange in his mouth and ladies' knickers and stockings on, he had a Manchester City kit on as well. Well, the police kept that quiet to save his family any further embarrassment.
I tell you this, he can still...
Cyril Smith, no, he turned out to be a rat pedo. Yeah. I never thought that when I was a kid. You always thought he was a nice, jolly, fat fella, but fucking hell, he was busy.
fulfill a club in the north of England, and you can ban women if you like, although half of them want to buy tickets.
I think he's got a lovely face. I always want to go.
Vera Duckworth. Anybody remember Vera Duckworth? Sure, it's quite an old show, isn't it? Obviously.
I wonder what he'd say if I did. Oh my God.
Two old maids on the beach. A streaker went past, one had a stroke, the other couldn't reach.
I can remember very well sitting next to Bernard Manning and knowing that he could control the audience. He's very skilled. And I became the laughing stock.
Boo fucking who, you fucking twat.
I became the nanny figure, the Puritan.
You've never struggled in your fucking life, and once on one occasion someone took the piss out of you, and you couldn't cope with it because you're not used to it.
Like a trainee corpse, I'm gonna make up.
He was using the audience against me.
You like the blue gear, what? Do you like the blue gear? Wash me lips. Do you like the blue gear? Are you working there with your foot?
I was 41, and I thought everything had passed me by. I was earning a good living. I wasn't short of nothing. I was earning a very good living, getting good money at different places. But I thought fame had passed me by. I wasn't a household name until Johnny Amp came along and put me on the comedians.
Now, this show, I grew up on it. I always used to watch this as a kid. And so when I approached stand-up comedy, I went with this mentality, and there was no politically correct mentality with me. And I just went on to the alternative circuit in Manchester, and I was doing Muslim jokes, and I was doing asylum seeker jokes, and it didn't take long to people to fucking... it didn't take long for me to ruffle feathers, but this is responsible.
He really was, I suppose, Mr. Manchester in those days. I moved up to Manchester in the early 60s, and I was astounded by the nightlife that there was in Manchester. It must have been the swinging city anywhere. I think there were over 460 clubs of different types, and that's where the comics learned.
That was it. Now, if you was a stand-up comedian, then learning your trade, there was thousands of clubs to go at. There's nowhere now. All there is fucking alternative walk venues, basically, and piss poor nights run by students.
Their trade, and really, I suppose, were the alternative comedians of the day.
The fellow went to the doctor. He says, well, I've examined you. He said, I can't find nothing wrong with you. He says, you must have Alice. He said, what's that? He said, I don't know, but Christopher Robin went down with it.
Everybody said you can't use Bernard. I mean, those days you couldn't do a blue gag on television.
If a producer tells me, Bernard, I don't want this and I don't want that, I don't want that, just tell a dozen really good, clean, clever stories. That's what I want. So I can write to orders. I've worked in front of nuns.
My daughter had brought her...
I never liked Frank Carson. I just never found him funny, to be honest with you.
Teacher, who was a nun, and the Mother Superior to see the comedians, and Bernard was comparing the show. And I'm sure I lost 3 stone inside 10 minutes when I heard that Bernard... And I went down and said, Bernard, Magella has brought the teacher, the nun, the Mother Superior. Don't worry. I will be the nicest man on God's earth. Don't worry. She's none to fear. And for half an hour, he was resplendent in his comedy. So clean, puerile, down to earth, lovable. But just for that one night. And then suddenly says, there you are, Frank. Haven't said bollocks once. Frank Carson, I've always enjoyed his joke, Frank Carson.
All the comics would have cue cards, just a card with one word, clues to the gags that they were going to do.
But by the time I went on, Bernard had done all mine.
He didn't look well there, George Roper. Not at all.
He must have nicked my idiot board and did every gag on my idiot board. Not to my knowledge. I goes on and I'm just stood there. I had to ad-lib, I didn't know what I was doing.
Lovely to see you, George. The wife and your son. You think?
I did actually say to him, it's been a pleasure to know you and a pleasure to work with you. I've always...
If any of you remember Ivy Tilsley in Coronation Street, that was, what was her name? Lynn Perry. That's a real life brother, Dougie. He wasn't a great comedian, to be fair.
Always admire you since you used to be on the Phil Silver show when you were called Doberman. He just looks like him, doesn't he?
And Dougie Brown. Unbelievable. Get a drink out of him, you can plat sawdust all right.
We all blended together, and we just did what we did, and he edited it as though it was all bouncing lines.
Wouldn't that be good now if you had a show like The Comedians? I think there's a fucking call for it, where you have like traditional styled comedians, and half an hour of them telling jokes. I think it's needed.
One another. And we all just did our show, and he took what he wanted and left what he didn't.
Fella's selling seagulls on Blackpool front, £0.50 each. A bloke went up, he said, I'll have a seagull. He says, take that one there.
And we went to the London Palladium.
He said, I'd only do it for 6 months.
Some of the jokes have not aged well at all, really. But, you know, it is what it is.
Weeks. Now, that astounded me because the run was like 5 months. And I said, why is that? He said, can't disappoint my fans up in Manchester, he said, because, you know, he ran his own club.
Clinging to your roots is extremely important to anybody in life. I despair of people who reach the top and forgot where they came from. Bernard Manning is not that sort of individual.
When Bernard was born, the story is that he was so ugly. It was terrible that the midwife had to have gas. And his...
Like I said, a lot of it's dated. A lot of it's kind of dated, but you've got to respect them for what they came up. How they learned the trade in horrible clubs full of horrible, bitter people, getting booed off and all kinds of shit. You know, but yeah, none of it's, some of it's not aged well, but you know.
Mother wouldn't breastfeed him. She said, I wanted him just as a friend.
My mum and my father were greengrocers in the very young days of my life. Up in the morning early and no lorry, just handcart to push the stuff from Smithfield Market to the shop. Flag floors, one cold water tap, no hot water, no bathroom. We used to go to the swimming baths if you wanted a bath.
Some of you won't be old enough to remember them brick fireplaces in the 80s and that way on. It might have been earlier. We all had these like brick fireplaces made with coloured bricks. They look shit now, but you know, there was all the rage then.
I had a pair of shoes in 1933. I could put my foot on a penny. The soles were that thin. I could tell it was edge of tails.
Catholic family. My father was a dead stickler for going to church and everybody being straight and tidy and saying your prayers at night. I was an altar boy, up at 7 o'clock to serve mass.
As the Pope once said to Michelangelo, you better come down, I think we'll have it wallpapered.
My mum and dad had a wonderful sense of humour. You had to have in them days to keep going. You had to have it. It was jokes in Smithfield Market that set me off. When I started off in Smithfield Market with my dad, about 12 or 13 years of age, all the porters used to tell gags. Funny people. You had to be. To do such hard work and get on together.
An American tourist on the bus passing Manchester Town Hall. He said, say, buddy, little Lancashire lad at the side, what's that there? He said, that. That's our town hall, he said. It's our clock. He said, we've got prefabs bigger than that in America. He said, oh, aye. Just then, a fire engine went past. 90 mile an hour, turntable ladders, all bells ringing. He said, what was that, buddy? He said, a window cleaner late for work.
I started work when I was 14 at Senior Service Tobacco Factory, Derby Street in Manchester. There was 5,000 girls worked there and about 10 fellas because it was all in the war. That was 1944. So you can tell I had a beano there. The girls thought the world of me. And then I was with the Manchester Regiment in Berlin. Started singing with the dance orchestra there. Went all over Germany.
I think he was a prison guard for like, is it Joseph Goebbels? I might tell you, he was guarding Joseph Goebbels or some high-ranking Nazi. I could be wrong.
Dusseldorf, Cologne, entertaining the troops.
This is the Army Medical, 16 blokes,
Starkus, not a stitch on, waiting for the medical officer. See, they're all stood there, windows wide open. Silent comedy, not a word spoken here.
I used to like Michael Parkinson, the Parkinson Show. He was a proper interviewer. Just saying.
When I came out of the army, we got certainly an audition with Oscar Rabin for the Lyceum Ball.
Most comedians, you might be interested by this or not. A lot of people who go into stand-up and comedy started out in music. I mean, Frank Skinner was a drummer, Chubby Brown was a drummer, Manning was a singer. There's quite a few. I'm trying to think on top of my head, but quite a few. There's a big, strong relationship between comedy and music. Just saying.
Room on the Strand, sang with the band. After about 12 months, my contract was up. The club scene had just started in Manchester, the Northern Sporting Club. And I compared it and started slinging a few gags in and a few quips in. Stayed there for a couple of years, and these premises came open. Just up the road from the Northern Sporting Club, there was an old temperance billiard hall and a furniture shop, and we opened up as the Embassy Club. I taught my dad into opening up. I said, what I can do for other people, Dad, I might as well do for myself and you. And our advert was, where you see the stars of tomorrow, today, a family club run by a family.
Even if Bernard wasn't there, Bernard was out doing a charity and he'd come back.
Jack Duckworth. Who remembers Jack Duckworth? This has got to be from the 90s, this show.
A little bit later, it still felt like a family club, that everybody was looking after you.
And we had the Beatles there for 14 quid. We had Mike Yarwood there for a £5. He'll tell you, Mike, you're still alive. I can't be telling no lies on this programme. He'll tell you, a £5. Matt Munro was 30 quid. Vince Hill was £60 for the week.
That was quite a lot of money, though, then, wasn't it? In the 60s.
Jimmy Talbot got a £5, and he was overpaid.
Well, no, it said somebody broke into the club one night, and when Bernard came in the next morning, he thought he was in the wrong place. They'd cleaned it up.
I used to be up at 7 o'clock every morning. I'd let the cleaners in at the club. I'd set the room out with a pal of mine, the chairs and the tables and the reserve.
I would love to have done comedy in rooms like that. You know, that proper old retro. I went in the Embassy Club once on a Sunday afternoon for a look round. I don't know if it's. Does any of you still know? Is the club still going? I doubt it very much. It's probably a fucking mosque now.
Serve tables, the list off the book, who's sitting where. It's the things that must be done, you see.
Have to get here a bit earlier than this, you know. We've got a lot to do.
Always make sure your microphones are working a couple of hours before. Always have your phone lines open in case the pianist rings up and says he's got chicken pox or whatever. You've got to be ready for all emergencies. I've learnt all these things in my years in Clubland. And then 8 o'clock, you could set your watch. Anybody for 40 years could say at 8 o'clock, Bernard Manning's walking on stage now at the Embassy Club.
There's two young men with us tonight that fought at Goose Green in the Falkland Islands. Thank you very much. Over here on this front table. Celebrating with us tonight. They're Argentinians.
And at 9:10, somebody's driving him down to Plymouth. And that would be Bernard Manning, you know, and like myself, a workaholic, you know. I always say I'm a workaholic, because every time I get a job, I get drunk.
I've seen him do 5 performances in a day, and he's never ever refused work.
I heard that what he used to do, he'd book a couple of shows in a day, and he had a clause in his contract saying if a fight broke out or it was excessive heckling, he could walk off stage. And I don't know if it's true or not, this, but somebody said he used to take 2 men with him, and they would start fighting and fuck the gig up so he could go somewhere else. I don't know if it's true or not. But good morning to everybody who's just joined me.
Worked on oil rigs, he's worked Las Vegas, he's worked at the smallest social club, a little pub, and he'd never ever refused work.
I was in Doncaster last night. I'm in Wakefield tomorrow night. I've got to go to the dentist tomorrow morning. When I leave the show, I'm in the dentist chair at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. That bridge there, it's coming loose. So I've got to be there.
Don't you hate it?
Terrible.
Yeah.
Joan Rivers was probably the best female comedian ever. Most female comedians just talk about periods and just vulgar stuff, but she had class, and she was viciously funny, in my opinion.
I'd hold him by the goolers and say, we're not going to hurt each other, are we?
God knows how I got the stamina. I think it's from my mother, because she was a real stamina person. 95, and she was still doing the books for the Embassy Club. She could reckon a column up at 95 years of age. She could reckon up that and reckon the same column up, go 2 columns. And her handwriting, she left school at 11 years of age, and her handwriting was absolutely magnificent. It flowed, it was beautiful. Beautiful handwriting. Yeah, she was some mother, I'll tell you.
She's his double, really, because he gets it all from her. She was aggressive and cutting, and she could come out with the most amazing comments sometimes. And when she died, I think he took that badly, because she was a big part in his life, because they lived together. She still cooked his meals and, you know, did everything for him, really.
She was 95, you know, my mum, when she died. She was marvellous. I used to carry her down the stairs to make me breakfast. There's not many fellas that do that, is it, son?
His mother used to be on the cash desk, you know, at the club. And he said, Mother, if ever the club get raided...
Oh, yeah, that we've only got one part. That was the first part of Heroes of Comedy. I've not watched any of these through, you know, so I'm just clutching at straws. Yeah, so I hope you're enjoying it. If not, go and fuck yourselves, basically. But let's look what else we've got. Bear with me. I've not put one video up. Hello to who's in. Ham and eggs, Kit Kats. Might not be for you, but it could be for me. Haley Bear, Tingle. Bear with me. Just talk amongst yourselves. This might be an idea. Right, okay. Sorry, this is technically dead time. Don't worry about it. It's Sunday, so just relax. Go and make yourself a cup of tea. Why is that not showing up? Okay. If I type this in, it should show up. I don't know. How am I going to do this? This wouldn't be my live stream without some form of fuck up, would it? Really, it wouldn't. But don't worry, we'll sort this out. Oh. Well, I'm fucked if I know why this won't show up. This computer's fucking crap. Let me try and think. I'm thinking on my feet here, so bear with me, please. Just bear with me. I'm trying to do something. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this. The weather's shit. The weather is just gone terrible. It's just like winter. It's not very good weather outside at all, which doesn't help us at all, does it? I found it. Sorry about that. Oh, for fuck's sake, the browser is having trouble sharing your video. What the fuck is this? Right, I can't find it. It won't fucking play. So we'll watch this instead.
I'm not going home to our house.
This is, by the way, this is Ken Goodwin. Now, when I did kind of started off doing stand up, I became very deadpan and a bit. I was kind of influenced by this style. To be fair, a bit daft and silly.
And I saw this fella with a long face, and I talked to anybody me that I talked back, and I said, what's up with you? And he said, I'm not going home to our house. I said, aren't you? He said, no. I said, why aren't you going back? He said, there's a terrible smell in our house. I said, is there? He said, aye, the wife keeps cats. I said, well, have you tried opening the window? He said, what, and let all my pigeons out? Hey, and what about this horse that collapsed in Piccadilly?
Oh, I fucked up. I'm sorry.
His notebook, 10 minutes. And the sergeant said, well, what are you waiting for? He said, how do you spell Piccadilly? He said, P-I-K. Oh, drag it into Tib Street. Drag it into Tib Street.
I was very heavily influenced by that style, and I kind of lost myself in deadpan for quite a few years. And people used to say I was funnier off stage, but it is what it is, isn't it? It's a learning curve.
We'll all have bellyache, won't we? Hey, and what about this village idiot joined the army? Wasn't me, but I knew him. And he joined up, and he lost his rifle. And the CO said, where is it? He said, I've lost it. He said, you'll have to pay for it now. He said, I'm not paying for it because it's not mine. He said, you'll have to. He said, because anything you get issued within the army, if you lose it, you have to pay for it. He said, well, what would happen if I was driving a tank and I lost that? He said, you'd have to pay for it. He said, it's no wonder these captains go down with the ships, is it?
Now, these aren't his best jokes, to be fair. And a lot of his jokes were very weak, but he was the joke in the sense of some comedians, it's not about the material, because if you give the material to somebody else, it's just terrible. But it's just how he delivered it and the way you tell them. Kit Kat says, where's the roughest place you've ever gigged? Boxing rings are quite hard. I've done a couple of boxing rings. I did the boxing ring at a white collar event at Reebok Stadium. Rough as in violent. We did There was called the Rabbit Saloon at Horwich, which was it looked like a wine bar. It looked posh, and this particular gig, I was doing my bit, and these lads at the bar wouldn't shut up, so I just stopped my act and I said to the manager, I says, "Luke, can you get these two lads to be quiet?" So the bouncers went over, and they filled the bouncers in, and they all Barry Murray erupted into a Wild West style brawl. I kid you not. The lads eventually got through out, and then a paving stone came through the glass door, and the riot bands turned up. The Indian gangsters from next door came looking for them, and I was meant to be giving one of the acts a lift home, but I couldn't be asked, so I drove off without him. And yeah, that was quite a rough night, you know, but yeah.
I got my first fan letter today. Do you get it? I got a letter from my mum as well. She writes to me now and again. I'll just read it to you. My granny sent me one once, you know, but this one's from my mum. It says, "Dear Ken," she's not Scotch, because they say that as well, don't they, dear Ken? Do you get it? Dear Ken. My mum says that as well.
I like his suit.
Dear Ken, here are a few lines. Then she's written 2 straight lines underneath there. Here are a few lines with the family news. You will be pleased to learn that your father now has a new job with 500 men under him. He is cutting the grass at the cemetery.
Obviously, I've heard a lot of these, and also if not, you can kind of read. When you're involved in this comedy world for a while, you get to learn to read jokes and where they're going.
You got it, eh? And your brother John has joined the army, and he has only been in a fortnight, and they have made him a court-martial already.
That's quite. I like that one.
And he is going away for 6 months to give Her Majesty pleasure. And it goes on to say here, your father now has started keeping pigs in the backyard, and there is an awful smell from your loving mother. She's as daft as me, she is.
Yeah, sorry about the mess up in the middle. The file wouldn't open. Sorry, I'm going to focus. Yeah, let's watch this. This is the fucking file that caused all the problems, and it probably won't be worth watching, but we're here. Thank you, Matt Sankey, for that lovely little remark. Let's see what this is all about. Is it worth it? I don't know. Russ Abbott used to be a stand-up comedian, so I'm not sure who's on this clip, but this is once again taken from the comedians.
What about the window cleaner cleaning his windows, and he's cleaning his bathroom window, and he looks through the window and there's this gorgeous blonde in the bath, and he went, oh. And she saw him and she went like this. She looked up at him and she said, hello. She said, would you like to rinse your leather in my bathwater?
You get arrested for this now, not the comedian, but this scenario.
He said, what? She said, would you like to rinse your leather in my bathwater? He said, yeah. She said, well, nip down the ladder and put it in the grid because I'm going to pull the plug out.
A bit cold, isn't it?
Ken Goodwin again.
Hey, I tell you, that was funny. I was working in Yorkshire one week, and I went to this house, and it was out in the country. It was a bit old-fashioned, and but the fella who owned the house didn't know I was there because he didn't let me in. His wife let me in because he was out when I came in, and Are you still with me? And he said to me, he said, "Are you the comic that's on at our club?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Have you just been up our garden?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Have you just been in that shed?" I said, "That little shed?" He said, "Yes, that little shed." I said, "Yes, as a matter of fact, I have." He said, "And did you pull that chain?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, you've let all my pigeons out."
Notice what makes a good comedian. It's affability and warmth. Most of the best comedians had the kind of personas and personalities that you would warm to, and that kind of drops your defenses. If there's someone who's, for example, Bob Monkhouse wasn't very warm as a comedian. He was quite smug. Another example is Jimmy Carr. They're not very likable people, so they would have to work twice as hard. But just a thought.
Give hush. These two sailors, they got on this train, see, in Southampton, and they were going home for 2 weeks' leave, and they were sat in this carriage, and the only other fellow in the carriage was a vicar, and he was sat in the corner. And one sailor said to his mate, he said, "What are you going to do, George? What are you going to do for the next 2 weeks?" He said, "Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out with a different girl every night. Every night, a different girl." "What are you going to do?" He said, "I'm going down to the pub, and I'm going to drink 6 or 8 pints of beer every night for the next fortnight. That's what I'm going to do." Until the fellow was reading the newspaper. He said, "What's that word in the newspaper? What does that mean, that?" "Lumbago." Well, the vicar hadn't said a word up to now. He thought, now's my chance. So the vicar looked up and said, "Lumbago is caused by gentlemen who go out with a different girl every evening. It is also caused by gentlemen who go to the public house and take intoxicating liquor in excess as well." Fellow said, "That's funny. It says in the paper the Archbishop of Canterbury's got it."
Not a great joke, but I like his persona. He was not. He was funny, just as himself. That's what worked for him. He was like Ken Goodwin. He was the joke. You could look at him and laugh. You know.
Little Wigan lad going on his holidays. Flat
Oh, what's the chances of that?
cap, white raincoat, galoshes, woodbine. Gets to Ringway Airport. He said, "Is that the plane we're going on, love?" She said, "Aye." He said, "It's an old plane, that, isn't it, love?" He said, "Outside toilet." She said, "I'll get you there, don't you worry about that." He said, "Who's the pilot?" She said, "Captain Henderson, a very nice chap. He'll be coming through this door any moment." Fellow walked through the door, guide, dog, white stick, dark glasses. He said, "Are you the pilot?" He said, "Aye." "Oh," he said, "not likely. He wouldn't get me up there for a gold clock." He said, "Not with you." He said, "How do you know where the controls are when you're blind like that?" He said, "They're all in Braille." He said, "All in Braille? What about when you get to the end of the runway? How do you know when to pull it up?" He said, "Well, with being blind, I've got extra fine hearing. And I hear all the passengers say, 'Bloody hell!'"
I like that outside toilet on the plane gag. That was funny.
Two Irishmen talking. One says, "Patrick, your feet, they stink." He said, "What should I do about that?" He said, "Put a clean pair of socks on every morning." At the end of the week, he couldn't get his shoes on.
Ah, you giggled there, didn't you? Lovely. I like it. Lovely. That's the idea. Have a giggle. We were going to have a film show tonight on post office efficiency, you know. But the film got lost in the post, so that's it. You know, when people go to work and they take the sandwiches with them.
That would have worked better for me if it had said it got lost at the sorting office. When you use the same word, it doesn't work for me.
Where I live, they call it carrying out. They call it carrying out where I live. I don't know what they call it, where you only snap, dear. Snap. Yeah. What did he call your husband's stuff when he takes it, love? He doesn't go to work. He's a docker, is he? He's a docker. No, he's not a docker, he's moving. Well, anyway, this fella was sat there, and it was dinner time.
It's making me want to do stand up. It's making me miss it. You know, it's a great feeling. It really is, even when it's going bad.
And they were opening the sandwiches, you see, at work, opening the sandwiches, and it was cheese. And he never liked cheese, this fella. And he said to his mate, what have you got? He said, I've got boiled lamb. He said, what have you got? He said, roast pork. Cheese, he said, I'm not having that. And he slung it. And the next day, Tuesday, that's the next day, after Monday, Tuesday, and he opened his sandwiches, cheese again, slung it. Went on all through the week. Wednesday, Thursday, opened the sandwich, slung it, cheese. Well, on the Monday, he got down for the dinner, and he never bothered opening the sandwiches. He threw them over his shoulder. His mate said, you haven't looked at them yet? He said, I know what they are. He said, I made them myself.
I love that one. It's a good one, that, you know, it's a good one, that. Hey.
Once again, it's the personality, it's the affability. You know, he looks funny, and that's half the battle. And when you like that, you can get away with bad material.
This is true. This is true. This male attendant, you know, took all these mental patients out, you know, on a club outing. They went on a club trip, you know. No, it's true, this Blossom, it's true. And they went on this club trip. You know how they do? They have a right good day out, don't they? And then you know what happens. You know what? Don't rub your eyes, love, all that mascara. You'll be darker than me. No, hold on, this is true. So they got in this boozer halfway back, you know. So he said, you know, attendant said, he says, come here, old flower. He said to the barman, he says, come here. He said, now look, he says, they're a little bit than us, of the road. He says, so no matter what happens, old love, he said, let them have the drinks. If they pay the way polished, than us, any tin polished lids are out like that. He said, milk bottle tops. See, jam jar lids. He says, just take it, accept it as legal money. Don't mess about. Just take it off them. See, humour them. See what I mean? He said, fair enough, old flower. He said, I'll settle the bill when we finish. He said, right enough, lad. And they had a right good session. Hey, they were as drunk as monkeys. Well, there was so little hot. There were jam jars and all sorts flying over at counter and all. He said he were paying them with that, you know. And that boot polish, all them lids, you know, he kept getting. And he accepted it. Aye. Closing time, they're all wobbling out, they're not. Singing and roping the what. He said, hey up, barman said, hey up, come here, I want the old love. He said, what's up, lad? He said, oh, settling up. He said, I'm glad that reminded me. I'm right pleased. He said, it's a good job. He said, now then, has they got change for a dustbin lid? Me mum tell me that one.
This tramp's rummaging through the dustbins, found a Salvation Army cap, Salvation Army uniform, £50 in the pocket. Put it on, he thought, it's my day today. Walked to this pub, 2 pints of bitter. Went to the gents, he'd left his cap on the counter, came back full of money. He thought, it is my day today. What a day. Put his cap on, he's just going through the door. The landlord said, give us a war cry. He went, Geronimo!
It was another world, wasn't it? It was like, I don't know. Very Ken Goodwin and Bernard Manning heavy. I'm sorry about it. Like I said, I've not pre-vetted these clips. I'm just throwing them on.
Smashing in Morocco, I saw this camel, it had 3 humps, and I said to this Arab in Arabic, well, I said it in broken English, I said, why camel got 3 hump. What do you call him? He said, Humphrey. I just come out with him, don't I? Yeah, and this aeroplane, it landed in the desert, you know. It landed in the desert. Nothing but sand. And this Irishman was with this other Irishman. They were going for a job at Wimpy's. And when he saw this sand, he said to his pal, come on, let's go home before the cement comes.
You know, life's a very funny thing, because...
Do you remember Mike Reed? He was in EastEnders. What was it? He was married to Pat Butcher. Frank, was it Frank Butcher? I don't know. Older people will remember from Mike Reed's runaround in the 70s, a kids show, where he used to fucking presenting, kids used to run around. I can't remember what the point of it was. But yeah, Mike Reed.
Everybody, believe it or not, regardless who you are or what station in life you come from, everybody's greedy in many respects, because you're never satisfied, and the workers are never satisfied. They've always got something to moan about. Now, can you imagine this? Ford Works, 6,000 men on strike. Now, there's a novelty for a start. Out comes a shop steward, a right 18 carat, 100% Jack the Lad. Brothers! On your behalf, I've negotiated with the management the following conditions. Basic wage, £138 a week. 2 tea breaks, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, both of an hour and a half in duration. 4 hours for lunch, 32 weeks holiday a year with full pay. And we only work on Wednesdays. Typically, someone from the back, what? Every bloody Wednesday?
There's an Alsatian dog and a boxer dog talk.
Do you not think he looks like Rodney Trotter when he was younger?
And the Alsatian said, I never get out. He said, it's terrible. He said, I never get anywhere. He said, never takes me out. And the boxer said, what you want to do? He said, is do a puddle on the floor. So just do a puddle on the floor. He said, you'll soon take it out. So the Alsatian said, I'll try this. And he did a puddle on the floor. His master came and saw it and kicked him in the face. So the boxer's up at the window again the next day. He said, did you get out? He said, no. He said, I'm still in, look. He said, you do a puddle on the floor like I said? He said, yeah. He said, but he kicked me in the face. He said, well, do it again. He said, you're joking. I'm not going to end up with a face like yours.
I think what it was in the 70s and 80s and 60s, there was that much of a demand for comedians that they didn't accept anybody. I could be wrong. I could be wrong on this. I'm no expert on comedy. I only have a brief insight into it. But I can only imagine how people's sense of humour was more naive then. It was more innocent. You know, like I said, this wouldn't wash today. It's Jim Bowen from Bullseye. No, I never liked him. I thought he was just a miserable fucker.
2 fellas working down the sewers, and they're having the butty break. Have you heard this? And they're unpacking their polythene thingies, and they're sitting there, and one looked at the other, and this fella is dipping his bread in the water. He said, hey, he said, you don't want to be doing that. He said, you might catch something. He said, what sort of fish do you have down here? Dipping his bread in, he said, dipping his bread in. About 10 minutes later, he said, oh, he said, I'll have to go up. He said, I'll have to go up for some air. He said, can you not stand it? He said, no. He said, I caught my wig in the manhole cover. Some air. Woman went to the doctor. She said, doctor, would you mind looking at me? My system's all knack. It's not working. Have you got a potty, please?
It is a great feeling making people laugh. It really is a great feeling. Yeah, I just wanted to add that.
She said, would you mind looking at my system, please? She said, it's all gone wrong. And the doctor said, well, I'll have a look at you, madam, yes. And he examined me. He looked at her. He said, yes, madam. He said, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're expecting. She said, I'm sorry, she said, but I can't be, doctor. She said, I've never been, it is and that. No, never. I've never. He said, you must, madam. He said, I'm telling you, you're, and he used a medical term, he said, you're in the club. He said, he said, I'm sorry. She said, I'm telling you, doctor, I have never been with a man. He said, just a moment. And he went over to his desk and he got a pair of binoculars out. And he went over to the window and he looked through the window with his binoculars. And this woman said, what are you doing? He said, well, the last time this happened, a star appeared in the east. Oh, dear.
Actually, it wasn't bad then. It's just been bullseye. I just thought, no, I was never keen on this man.
I must tell you this. Hannigan got a very bad dose of appendicitis. He's in the hospital. There's 2 students working over him. One student turns around the other and says, I'll tell you what we'll do, see, just for a laugh. He says, let's take the mickey out of Hannigan. We'll take his appendix out, and just for a laugh, we'll put a couple of pickled onions in. Well, out come his appendix, a couple of pickled onions in, and they sew him up with a lovely hem stitch. And 2 months afterwards, he's walking down the road past the hospital. He spots one of these fellas. He says, hey, come here, son. Have you qualified yet? And he says, of course I've qualified. I'm a fully fledged doctor now. Why? Hannigan says, I'll tell you why. You know that feeling a fella gets inside him when he sees a smashing bit of stuff in a pair of hot pants walking down the road? And the doctor says, of course I do. I'm a man as well as a doctor. Hannigan says, well, I get the same bloody feeling when I see a cheese sandwich.
This fellow went to this roadhouse. I said, can you put me up for the night? He said, well, not really, we're very busy. He said, but if you don't mind doubling up with a fellow that snores very bad. He said, but you get no sleep. He said, you can hear him all over the place in here. He said, well, put me with him, don't worry, I'll sleep. He said, came down next morning, fit as a fiddle. He said, how do you sleep last night? He said, like a top. He said, how do you manage that? He said, well, I just got in bed with him, kissed him on the cheeks, and he kissed him on the cheek, and he sat in the chair watching me all night.
I like George Roper.
It's a load of rubbish. Fellow goes to the doctor's. He said, doctor, he said, I feel like a steering wheel. The doctor said, you're going round a bloody bend, you.
You could say, couldn't you, I don't know which way to turn. That's a joke. I kind of made a joke up, but I never used it. About a fella's sat in his car crying when the steering wheel fell off and he didn't know which way to turn. I'm just fucking saying it shit now, but yeah, anyway.
This fella on a building site for 3 weeks. And all he done was lean on his shovel. 3 weeks, never even stopped at his dinner. And the manager come round. Says to the foreman, he says, get rid of that fella. He's been here 3 weeks, hasn't done a tap. So the foreman opens the office window and says, Mick, we want you in the office. Mick says, I'll stay on the shovel, he says. I'm no good at paperwork. Well, that's all with that, gents.
I've not a fucking clue who that weird fella was who just appeared on screen then.
This fellow was in the wine lodge with his missus. And they were both a pair of narcs, you know. A pair of gangsters they were. And she says, hey, Harry. She said, I was going past the jewellers there, around the corner the other day. And a smashing watch, £2,000. It wouldn't half do me. He says, you'll have to wait till it's dark. As soon as it's dark, he's at the wine lodge, up to the jewellers, a big house brick. Right through the window, grabs the watch and back into the wine lodge. Gives it to her, and she's like that. I know that they are in the wine lodge, they're all like that. Next day, they're back in the wine lodge. She says, I was going past a fair shop there the other day. A smashing fair coat, £3,000, wouldn't have to me. He went, that's the way it's dark. As soon as it's dark, he's at the wine lodge, up to the big brick, right through the window, grabs the fair coat, back into the wine lodge. She puts it on, and there she is. She says, all I want now, she says, is a pair of shoes and a handbag to match. He said, do you think I'm made of bricks?
What bad, actually.
This is true. He got this job, this Irish fella, a lumberjack. He answered this advert in Exchange and Mart. And this Jewish fella said, look, if you can chop down 100 trees a day for me, finish at 12 o'clock midnight, I'll give you £10 a day. Oh, he said, I'll do that. How do I start? He said, go and get yourself a mechanical saw. Went on this shop. He bought this saw, 20 quid. He went to work. He come back, 5 to 12. He said to the Jewish boss, he said, well, sir, I'm shattered. I've sawn down 98 trees. I'm too tired. He said, look, I told you 100, you don't get paid. He said, but no. He said, 98's not 100, you don't get paid. This is the business. Get out. Oh, he said, I'll try again tomorrow, sir. Next day, 5 to 12, he's there again, midnight. 99 I got today, sir. I couldn't do another. He said, look, I told you 100, you don't get paid. Oh, he said, well, I'll try again then. He went back the third day. He said, sir, it's 25 past 12. I've sewn 100 down. He said, you're too late. I told you 12 o'clock. No overtime. You don't get paid. He said, we can stick a job. I said, well, that's all right. You're not getting paid. He said, I'll go and sell the saw back to the man who I bought it off. He went back. He said, I want to sell this saw. The fellow said, yes, well, it's second hand now. I'll give you £10 for it. He said, it's only second hand. I've only had it 2 days, 3 days. He said, £10, take it. He said, well, I'll take the £10. He said, well, I'll just check it, see if it's working. He pulled this string and went, whoom, whoom, whoom. I said, what's that noise?
Did you hear about the ministry in the jungle? A young vicar went over there. A ministry, isn't it? Ministry? Bloody thing like that, anyway. No, it wasn't a priest, because us Catholics won't go in the jungle. Anyway. All of a sudden, he's walking through the jungle, and this great big lion comes out. He looks at it. He knows he can't escape, so he kneels down to pray. When he turns around, there's the lion praying. Lion kneeling down in the jungle praying. So the vicar said, it's a miracle. The lion said, shut up. I'm saying grace before meals.
It's just good old-fashioned working class entertainment. Now, a lot of the modern comedy establishment, the middle class hierarchy, if you want to call it, they hate jokes. They can't stand jokes. They see jokes as like a kind of the lowest common denominator. But there's a skill to telling a joke. Anybody can fucking stand on stage waffling about the fucking lesbian relationship or the fucking student loan.
There's a couple of fellas here who want some dirty stuff, I can tell. It's too mild for you, this, isn't it? Hey, it's too mild. Fella goes up to this young lady, he says, excuse me, don't I know you? She said, no, I'm afraid not. He said, you look like Helen Green. She said, you want to see me in yellow?
The henpecked husband who died, you see, she buried him. And she used to go to the graveyard every Sunday and put flowers on his grave. And one Sunday she was just sitting there and she could hear this music. What's that? So she called the fellow over. She said, can you hear anything? He said, don't know. So his ear down on the grave. She said, yeah, I can hear it. Put your ear down, missus. And she puts her ear down. And the fellow singing, I wouldn't leave my little working box for you. It's true, Oliver.
Yeah, I don't get that. That song must have been a song of the time. So, but it looks funny. Once again, this affability. Half the battle's won.
You know, you go in a pub, you get pestered, don't you? Let's be honest. I got pestered the other week. There's a fella came up to me and he said, "Have you ever seen a dog play the piano like Russ Conway?" I said, "You must be joking." You know, he said, "Rover." Rover jumps on the piano, goes, it's very good, that. Very good. He said, "Have you ever had a dog sing like Frank Sinatra?" "I did it my way." That's smashing. Have you ever seen a dog dance like Fred Astaire? I said, "Marlon, I bet you're proud of that dog, aren't you?" He said, "No, I wanted her to be a doctor."
Fellow at the doctor's, he said, "Doctor," he said, "you know, I don't know what it is," he said, "but I'm sure there's something wrong with me," he said, "do you know, I've got this terrible feeling," he said, "you know, he said, I just, he said, I can't hold a conversation," he said, and he said, I can't talk, I can't read." He said, I can't.
All I'm going to say is some laughs should stay in the past.
I can't recite. I can't, you know. He said, "It's embarrassing." What can you do? Doctor got a big needle up the armpit. He said, "I want to see you in a week." He was there the next day. He said, "I don't know, Doc." He said, "You must remember me." He said, I came yesterday, but and he said, "I had the yesterday," he said. But he said, I can't read, I can't." He said, "Dogs are following me." He said, "I'll try something else." So he got another injection up the armpit again. He said, "I want to see you in a week." He was there the next day. He said, I said, "I came with a He said, I can't eat me food. I'm going out of breath." So when he said, "It's kill or cure this time," he got the same needle, he up the armpit. He said, "How do you feel?" He said, "That's better."
Fella comes home and his wife says, "Sorry, Albert," she says, "I've burnt your dinner." He says, "Why? Have you set fire to the tin opener?"
Yeah, I like that.
This girl came from Cambridge and she came over to Ireland, you see, and she was stopping at this little lonely farmhouse near Ballysladmaguttery. This is about 3 yards from Ballygo backwards. And she said to the farmer, I found it rather interesting over here in your country. It's rather lovely. Now, do you think in the morning I'd go out and milk a cow? I've always wanted to do that." He says, "Well, go down the bottom in the field down there and you'll see Sarah. She's very contented. She's got a nice house of her own and all. Go down the bottom there and milk a may. Take a bucket." So she goes down the bottom of the field, puts the bucket in under, you see, and this fella comes up to the edge. Just a minute. Just a minute. You can't do that. You can't milk that. "And why can't I milk it?" He said, "That's a bull." He says, "Well, what's the difference?" He said, "Oh, what's the difference? The difference is the same as the difference between you and me." She says, "Oh, does it stutter?"
And best fuck that off. It's going on forever. Yeah, that's just the time you won't get back. Me looking at all comedians. Some of it was weak. Some of it was all right. It is what it is, but still great stuff. Nevertheless, right, I'm going now. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.